Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible pieces of biological engineering you'll ever own, your muscles. So let's get right into it.
Just think about it for a second. Every single thing you do, blinking your eyes, picking up a cup of coffee, sprinting for a bus, it all relies on the exact same fundamental process. It's a system that's both incredibly powerful and amazingly delicate.
So how does it all happen? How does a simple thought in your brain turn into a physical action? Well, it all comes down to a tiny, microscopic tug-of-war. And today, we're going to peel back all the layers to see exactly how that battle is won.
First things first, it's crucial to understand that muscles never, ever work alone. To create any kind of controlled movement, they have to operate in teams, specifically in what we call antagonistic pairs.
This is the whole principle behind antagonistic pairs. The key thing to remember is that muscles can only pull. They have absolutely no ability to push. So, for any movement to happen, one muscle has to contract and do the pulling, while its partner on the other side has to relax and lengthen to allow that movement to happen smoothly.
And this slide breaks down a simple bicep curl perfectly. When you're lifting the weight up, your bicep is the star of the show. It's the agonist. It contracts and pulls. At the exact same time, your tricep relaxes to let it happen. But then, when you lower the weight, the roles totally flip. Your bicep eases off, and now your tricep contracts to control the descent. It's this beautifully coordinated dance.
All right, so we've seen how muscles team up on the big scale. Now, let's zoom in, and I mean way, way in, to see what a single muscle is actually made of.
So if you could peek inside your bicep, you wouldn't see one solid chunk of tissue. You'd see that it's actually made up of thousands of long bundled cells called muscle fibers. Think of it like a massive electrical cable made up of countless smaller wires.
Okay, let's go another layer deeper. Inside every single one of those muscle fibers, we find hundreds of even smaller structures, all lined up in parallel. These are called myofibrils, and these are the little engines that actually do the contracting. And if we zoom in one final time, we get to the absolute core components. Each one of those myofibrils is built from two key proteins that interact with each other, called myofilaments. We are now at the molecular level, folks. This is where that microscopic tug-of-war we talked about actually takes place. So let's meet the two proteins that literally power every single move you make, actin and myosin. If you can understand how these two interact, you've cracked the code to all movement. This whole interaction happens inside a tiny repeating unit called the sarcomere. You can think of it as the fundamental engine of your muscle, and it is incredibly small, just 2.5 micrometers long when it's resting. To put that into perspective, you could fit about 400 of them across the head of a single pin. And check out the sheer scale of this. A single muscle fiber, just one of those strands in your bicep, can contain over 100,000 of these little sarcomeres, all lined up end to end, ready to contract in perfect unison. It's amazing. So inside each one of those 100,000 sarcomeres, we've got our two key proteins. First, you have myosin, the thick one. Think of it as the motor. It has these little mobile heads that stick out. Then you have actin, the thin filament. And you can just think of that as the rope. The myosin heads grab onto the actin rope and pull. And that pull is what shortens the sarcomere. And that right there is a muscle contraction. Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. It turns out not all muscle fibers are created equal. Your body actually has different types of fibers, each designed for very different jobs. We can basically classify them into two main groups, slow twitch and fast twitch. And yeah, as their names pretty much give away, the big difference is all about how quickly they contract and generate force. This chart gives us a fantastic side-by-side look. You see, slow twitch fibers are built for the long haul, for endurance. They use an aerobic energy system, meaning with oxygen, which makes them super resistant to getting tired. Fast twitch fibers are the exact opposite. They're built for explosive power, using an anaerobic system that's without oxygen, and they burn out really quickly. So let's zoom in on these slow twitch fibers. These are your marathon runners. Absolutely everything about them is designed to sustain activity for a long time. They're packed with mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cell, and they're surrounded by a dense network of capillaries to deliver a constant supply of oxygen. They also contain a very special protein called myoglobin, which is super important. Okay, so let's pause for a second and think about that. Myoglobin's whole job is to hang on to oxygen inside the muscle cell,
So for it to do that job well, does it need to have a stronger grip on oxygen or a weaker grip than the hemoglobin that's delivering it in your blood? What do you think?
The answer is higher. It has to have a higher affinity. It needs a much stronger attraction, a tighter grip, so it can effectively snatch the oxygen away from the hemoglobin in the blood and keep it stored right there in the muscle, ready to go for aerobic respiration.
And now let's look at the sprinters of the muscle world, the fast-twitch fibers. These guys are all about speed and raw power. Instead of waiting for oxygen, they have these huge stores of glycogen that give them instant anaerobic energy. This allows for an incredible burst of force, but it just isn't sustainable, which is why they get tired so fast. And because they don't have much myoglobin, they actually appear white, unlike the red slow-twitch fibers.
So the big question is, what determines your personal mix of these fibers? Well, a huge part of it actually comes down to your genes. Some people are just naturally born with a higher percentage of slow-twitch fibers, which might make them great at endurance sports. Others have more fast-twitch, giving them a natural edge in things like sprinting and powerlifting.
But here's the thing. Genetics isn't the whole story. Your training can absolutely develop the potential of the fibers you've got. So the final question is really a personal one. Now that you know how these incredible microscopic engines work, what kind of potential is just waiting to be unlocked inside of you?